Hey folks, welcome back to Cousin Vinny's Place. This video is about Miss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC as I like to call her, and her new Green Deal. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified of upcoming videos. Here we go. I was going to actually read the whole text of the thing to you, but I don't want to do that. So what I'll do is I'll include the link in the video description so you can read it for yourselves. I do want to talk about a couple of things. She mentions a lot of stuff, but I find it more enlightening, the stuff that she doesn't mention. Okay. First off, let's get one thing straight. This is a socialist wish list. All right. Pure and simple. And here's why I say that. There's no mention anywhere, not a sentence, not a syllable, nothing about cost or how to pay for anything. She has these grand plans. She has these grand designs. She's got these great ideas and thoughts. And oh, well, we're going to pay for this. We're going to pay for that. We're going to pay for this. We're going to pay for that. Like I said, she doesn't mention the cost, and she doesn't mention how she's going to pay for it. She doesn't mention about what to do with the jobs that are going to be lost in manufacturing, the airline industry, the auto industry, the energy sectors, because these are jobs that are all going to be lost because they're all, they're all polluters. They're all, they don't fall in line with the green agenda. So all these jobs are going to be lost, and she doesn't mention anything about where those jobs are going to go, how they're going to be replaced, what they're going to be replaced with, if they're going to be replaced, nothing. She doesn't mention how she's going to get power from the electrical grid without fossil fuels. Folks, the entire electrical grid right now, as we know it, runs on fossil fuels. I mean, look, I would love it if there was a renewable energy source to power the electrical grid, but right now there isn't. I'm sure we're working on it, but it hasn't come to fruition yet. Maybe 50 years, maybe 100 years. Probably by then we should have something, but it ain't going to be in 10 years. And you can't build anything without power. You can't, you can't do anything without power. And the power grid requires fossil fuels. So if you shut down fossil fuels, you're in the dark. You have no power. You have zero power. She doesn't seem to realize it. She thinks that, the electricity that you get from the outlets, that you just plug something in and it's just, it's just there, we produce electricity. It doesn't just, it's not, we don't collect it from the air. Okay. It's produced, and it's produced by fossil fuels. She doesn't mention what she's going to do with the nuclear waste from the nuclear power plants that she's going to shut down, which, just for common knowledge, nuclear power plants produce 20% of the total electricity in the United States and 60% of the non-carbon power in the United States. So that's brilliant. Let's shut them down. But she doesn't address the fact that once you shut the plants down, you need to do something with the nuclear fuel and the nuclear waste. Well, you've shut down airlines, you've shut down auto except for electric vehicles, you've shut down trucking because there are no electric trucks that I'm aware of. I think all the trucks run on fossil fuels. So how are you going to transport the nuclear fuel and nuclear waste? You're going to have to transport it by rail. And then where are you going to transport it to, and what are you going to do with it once you transport it there? Bury it in the ground? Bury it at sea? Make a containment field? What are you going to do with it? No mention, no thought, no cost, nothing. She doesn't mention how she's going to how we're going to transport goods and services across the country, you know, in this new economy, you know, without airlines, without trucking, without anything. How are you going to transport? How are you going to transport a New York apple to California? Or or an almond from California to New York? How are you going to transport it? Are you going to do it by rail? And where are you going to get the power? Because don't forget, you're shutting down all fossil fuels. So where are you going to get the power for these electric trains? Now, I don't know how many electric trains we have, but I'm assuming we're going to have to ramp up production of electric trains, which again brings us to the fact of you can't manufacture anything because you've shut down the entire manufacturing grid. Okay, so and if it's all rails, then you're dooming California and you're dooming Hawaii and Alaska to death because they rely on air. That's how they get their goods and services. That's how they get food. That's how they get everything. I mean, they have some resources, but that'll run dry soon. No thought. And you can't send it by ship because ships run on fossil fuels. She doesn't mention how she's going to increase capacity of wind and solar and geothermal and blah, 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 blah to meet the current and future energy demands. I mean, the current wind turbines in California are killing birds by the hundreds of thousands, if not more than that. And endangered species too, like bald eagles. Because, like they don't know any better, and there are tons of these things all over the place, and they're just flying into them. So now you're going to have to increase those. You're going to have to make more of those. But then again, you can't, remember, because you did what? You shut down the manufacturing industry. Because the manufacturing industry can't run without power, and you shut down fossil fuels. So, it's a bit, she doesn't think of the ripple effect, a stone in the, pond, the ripple. She doesn't think. There's no mention of the effect on the military and national security concerns without power or without air travel. So so we're going to pull all our troops from overseas, and anything overseas is done. NATO's gone. We're not going to be involved in NATO. We're not going to be involved in any alliances anywhere except in the contiguous 48 United States. Because we can't go to Alaska, we can't go to Hawaii because there's no air travel. So the military is only going to be for the United States. So that's it. So nothing anywhere else. I mean, so you're going to decimate the entire military, which I'm assuming is her plan. I mean, it would have to be, right? There's no mention of what's expected of you. Because the government's going to pay for everything in her plan. And you can read it. I mean, I'm not bullshitting you. They're going to pay for your food. They're going to pay for your water. They're going to pay for your shelter, your education, your housing. They're going to pay for everything. But here's the problem. That creates zero jobs because when the government supposedly pays for everything, which it doesn't, by the way, it's all like taxpayer funded. But there's no incentive to work. So if nobody works, because there's no incentive to work, because if the government pays you a salary to not work, and that was in the bill, you little bitch, those unwilling to work, it was in there, so I'm sure she meant it. But if there's no incentive to work, then the government can't collect taxes. So if the government can't collect tax revenue, then how are they going to pay for all your goodies? You see the vicious cycle here, folks? Are you starting to see the stupidity here? Are you starting to see the absolute inane garbage that's coming out of the progressives? I mean, this is what happens when you have quote unquote citizen legislature. Look, the founders wanted citizen legislators. Okay, that's what they wanted. That's what the founders wanted. But what I just read isn't, and what you're going to read isn't. It's amateur hour, because they don't address any of the things that I have. And you have to address these things if you're going to, if you're going to shut down huge sectors of the economy and put them under government control, then you're going to have to address these things. And they haven't addressed them. I'm sure they haven't even thought of them. Or the more sinister is that they have thought of them and they're just not letting you know about it. Either way, this garbage leads down the same path. It leads to Venezuela. I mean, pure and simple. That's where it leads. You can't destroy entire sectors of the economy. You can't promise people to pay for everything. And then expect them to work. No. That's not the human condition. I mean, if somebody says, I'm gonna give you everything you need from the minute you wake up, from the minute you're born until the minute you die, I'm gonna give you everything you need. I'm gonna give you food, water, shelter, blah blah blah, blah. But you're not gonna have to do anything, and you don't have any skin in the game. Where's your incentive to work? There is no incentive to work. But the ironic thing is, if you don't work, they don't get tax revenue. And if they don't get tax revenue, how are they going to pay for the stuff that they promised you? Folks, socialism does not work in any manner, in any shape, in any form. Call it democratic socialism, call it socialism with a flair, call it whatever you want. It doesn't work. Communism and socialism are two sides of the same coin. It doesn't work. They produce nothing. They produce nothing but agony, misery, despair, death, poverty, violence. Look at Venezuela. Look at Venezuela. Do we want to go down that road? Venezuela in the 1950s was the fourth largest economy in the world. They had natural resources beyond measure. That's why after World War II, they had an influx of immigrants, because they were a shining beacon. The fourth largest economy in the world, and the largest economy in South America. Where are they now? Because of socialism. And the 1950s was not that long ago. 70 years ago, it's not that long. Where are they now? Where's Venezuela now? 12 million % inflation rate. People eating zoo animals for food. People dying because they can't get to a doctor, because they can't get to a hospital, because whatever. The bridges between Venezuela and Colombia have been blocked so that Venezuela doesn't get aid. Look it up. If you think I'm lying, look it up. This is what we want. This is what we want. We want 325 million Americans to suffer the same fate as Venezuela. This is what we want. This is what we want. A complete government takeover of every part of our lives. This is what we want. I mean, God, I hope not. Because this is insanity. This is insanity. This new Green Deal is from a 28-year-old bartender that's got no business being anywhere near policy. Okay? None. She's got no business being anywhere near. She doesn't understand the first thing about economics. And she has a BA from Boston University. She needs a refund because she doesn't understand the first friggin' thing about economics. Or, like I said, the more sinister option is that she does. And this is all part of the grand plan to collapse the United States and to bring it into socialism or communism, however you want to phrase it. I mean, either she's grossly incompetent, or this is just a grand scheme. This is a grand plan. This is the final masterstroke of, the progressive movement. Either way, it's either way it's crap. Either way it's garbage. Either way it's bullshit. Either way it leads down the same path. It all leads to the same place. It all leads to hell, folks. It all leads to the bowels of hell. And once you go there, there's no coming back from it, really. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say, but listen, don't take my word for it. Just use your logic. Use your common sense. Nothing of what I said did she make a mention of. Not a sentence, nothing, not a syllable, not a passing phrase, nothing. It doesn't make sense. It can't make sense. It doesn't work. The math doesn't work. You can't, So, like I said, I put the link to the House resolution, and it's like number 109, I think. I put the link to it in the video description. Read it yourselves. See what kind of garbage is out there. See what they're thinking. Because I'm telling you, this is their wish list. If they had their way, this would happen. It can happen. It's impossible. It can't happen, but they're going to push for it. And we're going to be Venezuela. Or worse. But all right, folks, that's about it. Tune in next time. Please subscribe, like, and share this video as much as possible. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you could be notified of upcoming videos. And we'll see you next time at Cousin Vinny's Place. Until then, God bless America, and long live the Republic.